The mountain peaks stood silent beneath a sky heavy with ash and sorrow. Addison, the dragon queen of the northern realm, coiled her massive silver body around the charred remains of her nest. 3 eggs, once radiant with the promise of new life, now lay shattered and cold among the blackened stones. Her golden eyes, ancient and filled with millennia of wisdom, wept tears that hissed and steamed against the frozen rock. For 7 days and 7 nights, Addison had not moved. Her grief was a living thing, a weight that pressed against her scales and made even breathing feel like betrayal. The other dragons had come, offering their condolences in rumbling voices that shook the mountainside. But she had sent them away. What use were words when her heart had been torn from her chest? The hunters had come in the dark of night, cowardly humans with their iron weapons and their greed for dragon scales. They had not come for her eggs, but their torches had set her nest ablaze while she fought them off. By the time she had driven the last of them screaming off the cliff's edge, it was too late. Her children, her precious hatchlings who would never break free from their shells, were gone. Addison lifted her great head and released a roar that split the sky. It was a sound of pure anguish, a mother's cry that echoed across the valleys and sent avalanches cascading down distant slopes. She hated them, these humans with their short lives and shorter memories. She hated their cruelty, their endless hunger for what was not theirs. But hate, she was learning, could not fill the emptiness inside her. On the 8th day, as dawn broke pink and gold across the horizon, Addison heard something that made her freeze. It was a sound so small, so fragile, that at first she thought she had imagined it. A whimper, a sob, the sound of a child crying. Her nostrils flared as she scented the air. Human, young, alone, with movements more cautious than any who knew her fierce reputation would believe possible. Addison unfurled her wings and glided down from her perch. She found him huddled in a crevice between 2 boulders, no more than 6 or 7 years old by human reckoning. The boy's clothes were torn and bloodied, his dark hair matted with dirt and dried tears. He clutched his arm close to his chest, and even from a distance, Addison could see the unnatural angle of his broken bone. Benjamin looked up as her shadow fell across him, and his eyes, brown and wide with terror, met hers. He should have screamed. He should have run, though there was nowhere to run to on this desolate slope. Instead, he simply stared at her, too exhausted and hurt even for fear. "Please," the boy whispered, his voice cracking. "Please don't eat me. I just want my mother." Something in those words pierced through the wall of grief surrounding Addison's heart. She saw in this child's eyes the same loss that consumed her. She lowered her massive head until it was level with the trembling boy, steam rising from her nostrils in the cold mountain air. "Where's your mother, little human?" Her voice was like distant thunder, but softer than she had spoken in days. Benjamin's lip quivered. "The raiders took her. They took everyone from our village. I ran, but I got lost, and I fell," and fresh tears spilled down his dirty cheeks. "I don't know where to go." Addison's eyes narrowed. "Raiders? Human raiders?" The boy nodded miserably. "They had swords and horses. They said they were taking the adults to work in the mines. They killed anyone who fought back. My father," he couldn't finish, but he didn't need to. The Dragon Queen was silent for a long moment. Every instinct screamed at her to turn away, to return to her grief, to let this human child face the same cruel fate his kind had brought upon her young. But looking at Benjamin's broken arm, at his tear-stained face, at the way he tried so hard to be brave even though he was clearly terrified, Addison felt something stir in the hollow place where her maternal instincts had been shattered. She made a decision that would have shocked every dragon in the realm. "Come here, young one," she said, extending one enormous claw. Benjamin hesitated, then slowly crawled forward. His movements were awkward with his injured arm, and he whimpered with each shift of his weight. When he was close enough, Addison gently scooped him into her claw and brought him close to her chest, where the warmth of her dragon fire kept her scales heated even in the mountain cold. "What is your name?" she asked. "Benjamin," he whispered, his small body beginning to shake less as the warmth seeped into his bones. "I am Addison," she said, "and I will not let you die on this mountain, Benjamin." She carried him back to her nest, this broken human child who weighed nothing in her claws. She laid him gently on a bed of moss and dried grasses she had gathered for her eggs, her lost, precious eggs. The irony was not lost on her, but neither was the strange rightness of it. Using her smallest claw with a delicacy that would have amazed any who knew only her fury, Addison set Benjamin's broken arm. He cried out in pain, but he did not flinch away from her. She heated rocks with her breath until they glowed warm but not burning, and wrapped them in leather from her own supply to create compresses for his bruises. "Why are you helping me?" Benjamin asked when the worst of his pain had subsided. "Aren't dragons supposed to hate humans?" Addison's eyes grew distant. "I have reason enough to hate your kind, little one. But I have learned that hate is a cold companion." She looked at him with those ancient golden eyes. "You are not the humans who wronged me. And I cannot watch another young one die. Not when I have the power to prevent it." Benjamin reached out with his good hand and touched one of her silver scales. "I'm sorry," he said simply, "for whatever they did to you. I'm sorry." And in that moment, something began to heal in the Dragon Queen's heart, not a forgetting. Never a forgetting, but perhaps the first small step toward something beyond grief. She had lost her young, and that wound would never fully close. But here, in this unexpected meeting between ancient dragon and fragile human child, something new was being born, a bond, a purpose, a reason to keep living beyond the weight of sorrow. Addison curled her massive body around Benjamin, protecting him from the cold mountain wind, and for the first time in 8 days, she felt something other than emptiness. She felt needed. She felt, perhaps, a glimmer of hope. "Rest now, little Benjamin," she rumbled softly. "Tomorrow we will find your mother. I promise you this." And the Dragon Queen, who had thought her heart to broken to ever love again, kept watch over the sleeping child as stars emerged in the darkening sky above.